And I did give access to share screen for our presenters, so I will let you go ahead and take it away. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Marla. And thanks for having us tonight. Let me share my screen here so we can get progressing. Can everybody see that okay? Excellent. What we'll do here is I wanted to show this to you. Again, my name is Mike Dollinger. I'm Administrator for School Partnerships. I'm with Holly Bolesky and Justin Bruno to help us clarify some things and go through some things. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Michigan Virtual, and so you can get an understanding of what we're about and kind of what we do. So Michigan Virtual is a nonprofit 501c3 organization. Our mission really is advancing K through 12 digital learning and teaching through research, practice, and partnerships. So we work in partnership with Michigan school districts throughout the entire state, schools, ISDs, and even the Department of Education, along with other various organizations that we work with. Of course, we've been delivering online learning for over 20 years, but we also have a wide range of professional development opportunities and a research institute that studies the best practices of online learning. And I think it's important to know that we have those three branches because not everybody is familiar with that. Michigan Virtual has worked to earn and maintain various accreditations to ensure that we have high quality standards. We have accreditation from Cognia, which formerly was Advanced Ed, and we work with Quality Matters, which is an outside agency that reviews our online courses and provides feedback to us so we can make sure that we have a high quality learning experience for the students. Also, I think it's really important that students that are contending for an NCAA scholarship or would like to play athletics at the next level, our courses also meet those standards. And I just think it's important for everybody to know that. So some tips for successful online students. Online might not be for everybody, and we want to make sure that the students have an experience that prepares them for the future and they get a lot out of it. So here's just some online students that our research department has come up with. They're self-motivated, they work independently, they have access obviously to a computer and internet. Well, hard to do online education without that. They have an email account, and again, they have support from the family and their school. Some advantages to online learning is obviously the flexible schedule throughout the day. Students can learn at their own pace. They can go quickly. They can really sit down and delve into subject matter and take their time. All our courses are college and career ready. It's nice to have this type of catalog because it's going to support students' personal interests also. And then I think what's really important is when a student is taking an online class through Goodrich, they can continue to participate in the sports, in the theater, and the community events. They are still part of the school district. They're just taking their courses online. For students and families, if you're new to online learning, again, our Research Institute has created a number of online support guides. These guides are for families searching for information to help you decide if online learning is best for you. So I put the website on there. It's at the Michigan Virtual Leadership Research Institute. It's right there for you. So you can take your time and go through these guides and take a look at them. I believe you've also put them on your website. So I believe I saw them on there. So it's a good way for you to look at these guides and say, is online learning right for me and my family? So the student portal is how everything operates. Holly's going to go over that in a few minutes, but really this is our informational system. Just like you might use your student information system at your district, we also use this. You'll still use yours, but this is a way for the parents and the guardian to be able to log into the student and see their progress and monitor how they're doing in the class. Check on the assignments, make sure they're up to pace. It's really that opportunity to say, you know what, how you doing in class? Let me go in and look. Every parent and guardian will receive a login also, so they can monitor anytime they want. They can see how their student is doing. And the SOP is also where students and parents can send and receive messages from their instructor, and it goes back and forth. It's like the email system, but it does two really main functions. It's that communication piece, and it's also that piece that allows you to look at and monitor your students' progress. So some tips for early success, or success in general: start early. Don't wait. If you're taking an online class, kids say, well, I can go at my own pace, so why don't I just start 4 weeks into it, or 6 weeks into it, or after Thanksgiving? Don't do that. Let's start right on day one, and let's make sure that we're staying with your pacing guide, and your teachers will have those pacing guides. Make sure you put yourself in a physical location that will help you focus. It's good to have routines. Make sure parents and students are honestly monitoring grades and assignments on at least a weekly basis, if not daily. Communicate with your instructor. That's very important. Situations happen. Say, you know what? I didn't get to this until yesterday. That's okay, but make sure you're having that communication. And it's always important to back up all materials and assignments. You should do this for any classes that you're in anyways. So why an online collaborative partnership? Well, that's basically what I've been working on at Michigan Virtual for 3 years. You can take the courses, your students can take the courses that meet all the Michigan merit requirements. And again, they're NCAA eligible. You have local control. That means the district, Goodrich, has local control over the content. It's high quality content, great resources with local instructors. Students can utilize all the supports that the local school has, your counselors, your principals, social workers. Any support that the school has, you still have that opportunity. Again, you are a Goodrich student, just taking your classes online. Students can access their classes at their own pace, place, and space. Really, flexibility is the key. Allows for scheduling flexibility, giving students different options throughout the day. So a collaborative partnership, what it really boils down to is we're using local teachers to instruct online classes in our platform. So we train the local educators in the best pedagogy of online instruction. Courses are hosted in our LMS, that's a learning management system. We use Brightspace. Again, we manage it. So if there's any issues, we take care of it. Again, it's taught by local instructors. You have access to a catalog of 100 online courses. And obviously the teacher has to be certified in those courses. And then each course is designed by an expert instructional designer, and it's aligned to the national quality standards of online learning. And I think that's really important when districts choose a provider, that they say, you know what, ours is nationally qualified quality standards to online learning. That's why I showed that slide that we go over everything, and we have third parties come in and look at our content and make sure it's of high quality. So what does the course look like? Let me turn this over to Holly now. I'm going to stop sharing, and so she can really show you what a class looks like. I can tell you everything you need to know about Michigan Virtual and online classes, but until you see it, it's hard to comprehend.
Thank you, Mike. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You're going to see yourselves for a quick moment here. Again, thank you all for being with us. My name is Holly Valesky. I am an instructor at Michigan Virtual, but also an instructional coach. So I have been teaching full-time online for many, many years, even pre-COVID. And one of my favorite parts of my job is supporting teachers in online best practices so that they can then support their students as well. So I'm really excited to have you all on board, and I think this program is going to be a great success for everyone. So what you are seeing in front of you is a snapshot of our student learning portal. Mike did a great job of explaining what our student learning portal is. But again, just to remind everyone, this is our version of a student information system. So this is where students and parents are going to go for kind of that big picture data that students would like to know, whether that big picture data is about how they're doing in their course overall, where they should have been paced to in their course at this point in time. They can kind of see here in this little widget here how many assignments they've completed, what their start date is for their course, what their end date is. So not the granular data that you're going to see in the learning management system, Brightspace, but more so the big picture. So again, you're going to see that each student, when they log into the student learning portal, is going to have a series of widgets oriented for them on their SLP dashboard. Those widgets are the academic snapshot, completed courses, messages, activity, and the course pacing guides for students. I'm going to start off first with this messages widget because Mike had touched on this. Our student information system has a highly integrated messaging system that allows teachers and students to communicate back and forth, but in a way that the teacher is able to pull specific data from their student's course and link it directly to that message. So a teacher is really able to give students and parents high quality information about where that student is at that point in their course based on that alignment of our TUDE system. So a teacher can send a message to parents and students saying, at this point, your student should have been paced through Unit 4 and your student has completed 9 assignments out of 54 in the course. So it's a really great way to keep all stakeholders involved of student progress. The next thing that I kind of want to draw your attention to is over here on this vertical navigation menu. The student can obviously access their messages from here as well, but a really great thing that they can do, again, going back to that reference of the big picture data, is they can see a high-level grade book for all assignments in their course, the possible points that those assignments are worth, what grade they would have earned on those assignments, whether or not that assignment was completed, or if the instructor has exempt that learner from those assignments. So this is a great tool for learners to access, to kind of see those high-level views of where they should be in their course. But this gradebook is also available for our parent users as well through their parent guardian accounts so that they can follow up with their students as well. I'm going to navigate back to the dashboard really quickly just so we can go over a few of these other widgets that I think are important. The next widget I'm going to talk about is the course pacing guides. So you can see here that this student, his name is George Clooney, he has a lovely name. He was enrolled on this course today on May 3rd of 2021. That's when he's starting this course, and his end date has been assigned for him of June 30th, 2021. So those start and end dates are assigned locally by the administrator to determine when the student will start the course and when the student will end the course. Generally, those start and end dates align very well with the local school calendar. So if I wanted to know as a student in this course where I should be in this course, I would simply click that pacing guide and a new window is going to open that has a really cool and smart tool that allows the students to see exactly what they should be completing that week. Now these pacing guides are smart and that they automatically adjust the weeks based on the start and end date term length. So if the start and end date term is 20 weeks apart, then you'll see a 20-week pacing guide. If there is a 14-week gap between the start and end date, then you would see a 14-week pacing guide. So it's not just a one size fits all pacing guide for every student, regardless of when they are signed in or enrolled into a course. Our pacing guide system is really smart and is unique to each student. So what's nice here is that you can see whether or not the student is completing a lesson or if they're completing an assessment. That would be indicated by this graded activity, yes or no column. And it helps students to kind of understand where they should have been worked through, where they should have worked through in their course in order to be successful and complete their course on time before their end date. So now I'm going to navigate back to the SLP dashboard and quickly just reference this academic snapshot widget. You will see here in this neat little table that the student can tell what term their courses are assigned for, the course name, what grade they would have earned, how many assignments they would have completed, and again, that start and end date. So you'll notice that the course link here is live. So when I hover over it, I can see that this is a live link. And this is how students are going to access their Brightspace courses. So this student, George Clooney, is currently enrolled in one course. However, if the students were enrolled in multiple courses, you would see multiple rows in this table for each course that that student was assigned. So let me go ahead and navigate into Brightspace. So where the SLP is our Student Information System, or SIS, Brightspace is our Learning Management System, or LMS. So clicking that link in the academic snapshot in the SLP will take me directly into that specific course. And you can now see that I am in the Brightspace Learning Management System, and I'm no longer living within the SLP here. So like the SLP, you're going to see some basics just from quick observation of the class homepage. Whenever the student first is taken into their course, they're going to be always taken to this class homepage. There they're going to see a title for which course they are in. They're going to see a course quick access menu with pertinent information that Michigan Virtual uploads to each course. And then they're going to see some information that is going to be personalized to their course by their instructor. So it looks like the course that I am in is currently a Geometry B. I'm sorry, that George Clooney is currently in is a Geometry B course. And when I scroll down, I'm able to see that my teacher of this course is Christina Trombetta. She's given me some information about how me as a student, I can get a hold of her. She's given me her email address and her phone number. And she's also given me some office hours to let me know when it's best for me to get a hold of her. So what's nice about Brightspace is instructors will complete this profile once, and then any course that they are teaching, this information will automatically populate for them. So as soon as a teacher is assigned a course, this instructor info will come into that course for them. A student will never go into a course and wonder who their instructor is because this information is always going to be front and center. Another cool key feature that I want to point out on the class homepage is this teacher feed. You can think of the teacher feed almost like the announcements in a face-to-face classroom. So just like face-to-face teachers have a whiteboard or a chalkboard, those Elmo boards, whatever type of tech you're using in your classroom, and you're training your students to go there each day to see what's new or what you're going to be working on that day, or to get some further guidance on an assessment. This is the same as the teacher feed. So again, think of the teacher feed as the announcements. You can see Christy has done a great job of posting some supplemental resources for her students. She has posted words of encouragement. She's making attempts to connect with her students by sharing about her life and her family. And so Christy does a really great job of building in classroom community through her teacher feed, but also using it as a tool to aid in furthering student learning. So I am showing that just as a way for you to get an understanding and an idea of all the cool things teachers can do within the Brightspace LMS. Now I'm going to move us up to this horizontal navigation menu at the top of a course here. This class homepage link will always take you back to this main class homepage. So know that that's just there to kind of give students a place to resort back so they can see any teacher feed or instructor information. Then we can see lessons, discussions, grades, resources, and my progress. So the meat of an online course is going to lie within the lessons tab. So I'm going to go ahead and click on lessons. And this is going to open up all of the lesson content that has been populated into this Geometry B course. You can see from the organization here that these blue kind of horizontal bars correspond to each of the units within the course. And clicking on one of those blue horizontal bars is going to expand that unit so you can see the specific lessons and assessments that are contained within it. So I'm going to go ahead and collapse this getting started unit because it seems to be the least content specific. And I'm going to open unit 8, which as we can see here is about right triangle trigonometry. I'm a science teacher, so I'm hoping that I can at least communicate some of the math language that's within this lesson. So again, clicking on that horizontal blue bar here is going to expand this unit. And I can now see that this specific unit contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lessons. You can see the lesson titles here. And then it contains a series of assessments, some formative and some summative, meaning some are meant more for practice and are usually worth less points towards the student's score. And then as the student is progressing, given the option to assess their understanding, then they have a series of higher weighted assessments at the end of the unit here. You can also see that there's some little check marks here within Brightspace. These check marks simply indicate that this lesson has been accessed by the student. So this is a really great tool for students and a great feature of Brightspace because students will never know or never ask, where did I leave off? They can simply hop into their lesson content and they can see that I stopped right about here. So I need to pick up on Unit 8, Lesson 5, Modeling with Right Triangles. So I'm going to pop into a lesson itself just to kind of show you what it looks like. So I can click on this link here and the lesson will open up for me. And again, we're going to see that even within the lesson itself, each lesson contains multiple pages. So again, we have pages organized into lessons and then lessons organized into units or modules. And within these lesson pages themselves, generally the first page is going to be some sort of introduction into what students are going to be learning in that lesson. In most courses, we have lesson objectives written for students so that they clearly know what they should be able to know or do at the end of that lesson. And then this geometry course does a great job of outlining key terms. You'll note that there's an option for students to listen to the lesson content if they would like to. So if that's a great accessibility feature of Brightspace. And then students can also print any lesson content and download any lesson content as well if they would like to access that content offline. So you'll note that there is the option to navigate through these pages within this lesson by simply clicking on the links in this vertical navigation menu. Or if you'd like, you can simply scroll right or left within the lesson itself to move to the next page. So in this geometry course, again, we have this wonderful introduction page with lesson objectives and key terms. And then on the next page, we have some sort of activation that gets students thinking about what they're going to be learning within this lesson. It asks, an activation generally asks questions or asks students to recall on prior knowledge. And so you can see here that there's text that is contained within this activation, but there's also links to external resources. So one of the great things about working online is that you can leverage the power of the internet. The internet has so many great resources. And so at Michigan Virtual, we like to use those vetted resources within our course to differentiate our content. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue to move through this lesson so you can kind of see what the content would look like for students. It looks like on this page, students are learning to use their calculator for geometry. And so there is both text and video to supplement that content. On this next page here, again, we are looking at a video with minimal text. We really try to make it, all of our courses engaging so that students are not simply reading text or simply watching videos or only doing simulations, but a nice rich balance of all of those opportunities. This course also does a great job of, again, giving students ability to practice with the content before they're being assessed on it. So you can see here that once students go through all of that lesson content and all the pages, then they can click on this link here to be taken to a separate website where they can do some practice on solving for sides of triangles. And of course, learners can always reach out to their instructors as well if they have further questions or need support through any of this learning process. The last page within this lesson 8.3, Solving for Sides, is simply a summary. And so students are now indicated that they are 100% complete with the lesson and that they should direct themselves back to the content to see what is next. So again, because I have clicked on that lesson, I should now see a little check mark next to that lesson. And the lessons that I have not clicked on do not have those check marks. So there's an indicator here that I have not yet clicked there. So it looks like this Unit 8 within this Geometry B course, again, has some computer graded quizzes that allow the student to check their understanding as they're moving through the assessments. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there will also be opportunities for the students to engage with their teacher through teacher graded assessments as well. Michigan Virtual is not the type of school that likes our students to just be able to click through a course and pass a course by guess and check. We really make it a priority to build in opportunities for our students to show what they're learning through completing what we call non-Googleable assignments. So anything that is like a project, we have courses where students complete podcasts or have to design systems or design science experiments and carry them out at home or possibly film themselves doing a project. I, again, am a science teacher. So one of my favorite assessments in our Anatomy and Physiology B course is talking about body movements and anatomical terms. And the students have to make a video of themselves performing all of those anatomical terms and describing them as they're moving them. And I just think that is an awesome way to assess a student's understanding rather than simply having them click through a quiz. Because if I can see them do that work and I can hear them using the language of the content, then I can truly understand as a teacher that they're understanding what it is that I want them to know. So what is unique about some of our math courses is what we call our discussion-based assessments. You'll see that these are synchronous activities. So discussion-based assessments are prevalent in our world language courses and our math courses. And those allow the student the ability to meet one-on-one with their teacher and kind of do a formative check of understanding before they complete any of these tests or projects within a course. What's great about discussion-based assessments is there's not one way to do them. So you can kind of follow the traditional model and have a student schedule a meeting with their teacher and they can meet over the phone or through Zoom or however the teacher would prefer, the student would prefer to go over some of those lesson activities. Or we have had teachers in the past be successful in texting with students and qualifying that as a synchronous discussion-based assessments. But again, we really want to be thoughtful to build in these opportunities for students to be able to meet with their instructors and know that they're being supported in their learning. So next, I want to talk about the My Progress tab at the top here on that horizontal navigation menu. So every student and every parent wants to know, how am I doing within this course? And they can find that information in two different places. The first place is in My Progress and the second place is Grades. I'm actually going to call an audible here and quickly click on grades just to show you what you can see there. The grades page is, again, almost like that gradebook that we saw in the SLP gradebook. It's very high level. You're not going to see a whole bunch of information there, but you are going to see essentially the student's score and when they turned in that assignment. So let me navigate back to the grades here. You can see that within Unit 8, I have completed this synchronous discussion-based assessment, and here's the feedback that was left for me by my teacher. So my teacher has filled out a rubric. So many of our courses offer scoring tools and instructional tools in the form of rubrics. So the student can pop into this rubric right here and see why they had earned the grade that they earned. Teachers are capable of inputting text or video directly within these rows to further kind of narrow down why a student may have earned a score that they did. So know that those rubrics are available to teachers and students as well. But then the second more powerful way to look at progress is on this My Progress tab. We always want to give our users as much information as possible so that they can use that information to know where they are in a course or know what they need to be working on. And so this My Progress page does exactly that. So here on the progress summary, you can see that as George Clooney has submitted 2 assignments here within his course, and he currently has earned 1.44% of all of the current points in a course. So I can click on this little, again, horizontal bar here to expand the assessments that I have turned in. I can see that I completed this Unit 8 synchronous discussion-based assessment. I earned a score of 7.99 out of 10. And I can tell you that it was last modified. That means it was graded by the instructor at 5:46 p.m. And I can also click on this little drop down here to see the feedback that was left for me by my instructor. So it looks like in this case, the instructor gave some encouraging feedback of what the student did well, but then also gave the students some direction of how he could use some extra help on solving for angles. And then she sent him an additional practice video and encouraged the student to reach out to her with questions. Same thing on this 8184 checkpoint quiz that you guys did not see me take, and I'm hoping you're not judging my score because I earned a 1 out of 10, but I just had clicked through the content and randomly selected answers, so I want to be transparent. That is not a determination of any content errors. I had just input the answers of like 1 through 16 in the answer choices. So, and somehow I still got a 1 out of 10. So know that a student can always check their feedback on any of their assignments by using any of those tools. I kind of prefer to look at my course through the summary, but know that if the course does have a large number of assessments, as a student, I could further look to see how I'm doing only on discussions within a course or only on quizzes within a course. There's also non-grading data that students can look at. They can look at when they've accessed their course. They can look at their login history to kind of help them understand how they're using their time wisely within a course as well. So maybe if their grade is not quite where they had hoped it would be, then they might look and say, well, last week I only spent 4 hours in my course. Maybe I should make it a goal next week to spend 5 hours in my course. So lots of great user data within the My Progress page as well. So I will pause for a couple minutes and see if anybody has anything to add or has any questions or anything else they would like to see.
Thank you, Holly. And I did mention earlier that we would turn the recording off for question and answers. So I just want to check and see if there's any more to the presentation that I should leave it on or stop and start, or how should we do the recording?
We could probably stop, Marla. I think that'd be fine.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll